The following is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
This season marks a new beginning. New heights will be reached. New records will be broken. A new champion will be crowned. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. You're watching the premier American open wheel series on iRacing. The Lionheart IndyCar Series presented by First Medical Equipment starts now.
Do you like apples? Adam Blocker has 705 championship points. Andrew Havakech-Kinsella has 690. A difference of 15. That, viewers, is a championship points race. Justin Weaver has 562 rookie points. Stefan Larkamp has 549, a difference of 13. That, viewers, is a rookies point race. Take them apples, mix in a shot of Delara and a shot of sweet and sour Australian road course, and you've got yourself an Appletini of sim racing excitement. Presented by First Medical Equipment, it's the American Cancer Society Grand Prix of Phillip Island. And you can see all the Lionheart IndyCar Series action from green flag to victory donuts live as it happens right here on the Global Sim Racing channel via the iRacing Esports Network. Happy National Love Your Hair Day to everyone watching on IESN, and welcome to another GSRC broadcast and the Countdown to Green presented by the Sim Pit. As cyberspace flows into your place over the next 15 minutes, GSRC will bring you all the storylines, all the stats and facts you'll need to appreciate round 17 of 24 on the Lionheart IndyCar Series Season 6 schedule, and it all follows immediately as we count down to green for the American Cancer Society Grand Prix of Phillip Island. I'm Bill Soups On, sharing the microphone with former real-world IndyCar driver Richie Hearn. I'm Jed Yaman has director duties, armed with cameras, locked and loaded by Dougie Beard. This will be the third running at Phillip Island for the Lionheart IndyCar Series. Dan Guerin was the previous season winner, but he'll be hard-pressed to repeat. Point leader Adam Blocker has won 4 out of 5 road courses this season, with the Candyman Dustin Wardle the only driver preventing a Blocker road course sweep. If somebody's going to block Adam from winning again, Richie, tell us about the racetrack it'll all happen on.
Thanks, Soup. And folks, before I talk about the track, let me remind you that everything during the Countdown to Green comes courtesy of its sponsor, the Sim Pit. Sim Pit's an entertainment channel dedicated to sim racing. Its focus is to bring you news, reviews, and information from around the world about sim racing hardware and software. It also focuses on what it takes to be a better sim racer, with instructional video and the how-tos that will help your performance on the virtual track. Check it out at thesimpit.com. And speaking of virtual tracks, let's talk about today's venue. As you can deduce from the name, the Phillip Island Grand Prix Circuit is on Phillip Island that floats just off the coast of southeastern Australia. I would love to visit this place. The track opened in 1956, and after falling into despair twice, a 1988 major refurbishment created the modern layout the drivers will race today. It's a 2.7-mile road course, 12 turns that will really separate the good drivers from the great drivers. It has decreasing radius corners all over the place, some off-camber bends, a few really gutsy sweepers that'll put the drivers' nerves to the test, but a nice long straight to add to pick up that draft and create some good passing opportunities. Watch for the drivers to get caught off guard into the corners like Southern Loop and Lukey Heights. But to really give us a feel about what they'll be experienced, let's head on to the GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Stefan Schlacker in the GSRC IR18, so let's do a lap around Phillip Island. Coming down the pit straight, you're going to have a huge head of steam, so expect drivers to be using the draft to make passes. Doohan will be flat out easily, which means you can hug the right side a lot better to set up for the southern loop. The rise and off-camber nature of this long corner makes it pretty tough to get the late apex you need to really be fast. It's honestly pretty important because yet again, you won't lift through the fast kink of Stoner, and then you've got a great passing opportunity into Honda. Expect to see much of the action to happen here, especially with how easy it is to outbrake yourself into this slow corner. Pretty quickly, the track switches back into Siberia, which is another late apexer. Considering how much of a climb uphill it is as well, you don't want to hesitate on the power to make sure you carry your speed. From there, we hit the S's, which just requires a little straightening out. And then you've come to Lukey Heights. It's so blind through here and tough to find grip, especially offline. Get the car to the left because you'll need it in the braking for MG corner. The downhill is going to cause a lot of locked right front wheels as drivers try to get it turned in time. After that, you've got to tiptoe your way through 11, but also not be too timid at the same time. The more confidently you can find the throttle, the better speed you'll have down the front stretch. That's because Swan is another flat-out bend. Try to avoid getting sniped at the line, but hopefully, if you've kept it all together, you've now finished a lap around Phillip Island.
Tie me kangaroo down, sport, as Joe Peak talks and takes us around Phillip Island. All right, let me take you around the point standings now. Now, keep in mind that these numbers take into account the 3 drop races allowed for in the rules. They are, to put it simply, each driver's best 13 of 16 results. After winning at Charlotte, Dan Guerin for Synergy moves up a spot, bringing a pair of 8-Ball Motorsports drivers along with them, Michael Goodman and Justin Weaver. All 3 going around Stefan Larkamp. More about Larkamp and Weaver from Richie in a minute. As the hype in the opening talked about, Adam Blocker leads Andrew Kinsella by 15 points. Let's go down and look at the team championships now. And of course, this is brought to you by the good folks at HPP Simulation. With Blocker and Kinsella on board for Adrenaline, that team is going to be hard to catch. The real question is, can No Name Racing hold on to second? They finished 8th on the day at Charlotte, being outscored 131-67 by Synergy Motorsports. Dan Guerin was first. Brandon Limkeman was 10th, and Ron Hacker 13th. After losing a position to Control Chaos last round, Dragonfly got one back by passing up Loud Pedal. Loud Pedal continues to sink as well. All right, we've talked about the drivers and the teams. Let's go ahead and look at that surprisingly close rookie race.
Yeah, these Rookie of the Year standings are presented by Butt Kicker. The last 2 races for Stephen Larkamp have been horrible. He's been out of the race early on, like lap 5 early on. But Justin Weaver has been hot in his last 4 races, including a win at Texas. And that's how Weaver now holds a 13-point lead over Larkamp. But Larkamp shines on the road courses, so look for him to reclaim that lead.
Let's see. And there's Ryman and Beard and Groff down there as well. You know, this is considered the fixed setup racing league for the Dallara IR18 on the iRacing service. The Lionheart IndyCar Series honors the memory of the late Dan Weldon. And if Dan were still with us, he'd be a big fan of our next segment, Professor Lugnut's Setup Corner. Now, in the past, the previous segments, the professor has talked about ride heights and the side-by-side forces that are applied during cornering, and how a car should be flat as possible on the left side and on the right side of the corner. But today, my producer notes tell me that the professor is going to explain rake. Now, as a poker player, I know rake as the percentage the casino takes out of each pot. I got a hunch that that's not what rake means for us.
Soup, it's not poker or gardening here. The rake is another aspect of ride heights that has taken an even greater importance with the IR18. Put simply, rake is the front-to-back difference in ride heights of the car. Negative rake occurs when the front of the car is higher than the rear, while positive rake occurs when the front of the car is lower than the rear. In general, all Indy cars operate with a positive rake. This allows the rear wing to be elevated above the dirty air of the front wing. But there's another factor with rake that is magnified this year. As we have mentioned before in other setup corners, the car generates a lot of downforce from the underside of this car. This has essentially turned the car into one giant aerodynamic device. Raise the front to decrease the rake, and you also make the car push more into the corners. Raise the rear to increase the rake in the rear, and you make the car loose. Get the balance right, and the car will perform exactly like you want for the duration of a run.
I got it. It makes sense to me, although a setup corner is never quite complete without the Bernoulli effect in there somewhere. Maybe he can work that in next time. We've talked about the track. We've shown the track. We've gone over the points. We've learned about the rake. So it's time to look at something a little more straightforward. How about, Richie, talk about the series details?
Yeah, and these series details come to us thanks to the SimPit. Here we are, Season 6 of the Lionheart IndyCar Series. We're at round 17 of 24 with 3 drops available to each driver, as it was mentioned before. We are racing the new Dallara IR18. The setups are adjusted, but they are fixed. And we're working on a total of cash and prizes, $6,402.
Ooh, that's fun to race for. All right, practice is done. Qualifying is underway. No surprise to see Adam Blocker at the top. Now you're looking at Chris Stover. He's currently sitting 14th.
Yeah, Adam Blocker was fastest in practice, and with a lap of 111.2, these laps are going to go by pretty quickly here, but there we go. Dan Guerin sitting in second. He's been on a roll lately, got his bad luck out of the way, it seems like, so we'll see how he goes this week, or tonight.
Of course, it's my honor to have a former real-world IndyCar driver sitting next to me in the booth, but we have an active IndyCar driver out there for today. Sage Karam is racing. Sage was late to get going, but I saw that he was out there trying to put in a qualifying run.
Yeah, he's running good. He's sitting 7th right now, and I've jumped in the room with these guys in practice, and none of these guys racing this series are any slouches. They are very tough to beat. So Sage Karam has his hands full tonight.
Sage made his Lionheart debut last week in the Retro Series, where he qualified poorly, but really got the feel of that car. I think the adjusted fixed setup takes him a little while to get used to. Once he had it figured out, he was coming, until he got caught up into somebody's mistake and ended his day riding in that Target car. Now, I'm colorblind. I'm going to assume that is that one. Whoa, that's not the way to do that one. That's an interesting racing line. Is that car pink or is that blue? That's a pink car.
Yeah, that's not the fast way to go, but it's exciting.
Give him some points for style on that one. Andrew Kinsella has worked his way up into second. We ride on board with Brian Yazik. There's Kinsella. Of course, yeah. Blocker and Kinsella sit 1-2 in the points.
Yeah, and he just dropped some wheels right there, so that lap's not going to count. But Andrew's had some tough qualifying sessions in the last couple races on the ovals, but he's managed to work his way up to finish up in the top 2 or 3. So it's good to see him up in the top 10 right at the moment.
Okay, I've raced this track a ton of times, but always in the underpower in my little MX-5. That's the one I know it in. I've never even come close to trying it in something as high-powered as a IR18. Where's the passing zones, Richie? Is it still into 1 and like down into Honda, same places that I would find in my little Mazda?
Yeah, absolutely. The straightaway is very long, and that turn 1 is very fast, so you can go side by side, and really probably most of the passes will be completed as they go into turn 2. There are a couple other spots. If you're brave, you can get them over Lukey Heights as you go over the hill, try to outbrake them on the inside. But the one thing about this track that does make it tricky, as I was watching practice and seeing a lot of this, is it's easy to drop a wheel because you're trying to carry so much speed, and just there's a lot of grass out there. So once you get in that grass, you're pretty much gone. So kind of keep an eye out for that tonight.
Yeah. Too wide through Lukey Heights, a little risk-reward. Got to think about that one over there. Yeah, you may make it work, but man, if it goes wrong, like Richie said, it's a lot of sliding to be had. There's the Candyman, Dustin Wardlow. And he's off. That's as we cut to a scenic view, as his did not finish his qualifying lap.
Yeah, looks like we got almost everybody done except for Samuel Ryman, Kangaroo Gray, and Woody Mayhem. They have not put a time in yet. We got a big field here, 36 cars, so we're going to definitely see some lap traffic come into play because these laps are pretty short.
If home cooking means anything, you think that Michael Gray, one of our only Australian driver, should be pretty comfortable here. All right, qualifying is just about done. Let me go ahead and get this plug in so I don't have to hurry here. And of course, you know what I'm going to talk about when it's time to go racing. And we're going to talk about HPP. Nothing beats the feel of a true hydraulic braking system from HPP Simulations. Designed and manufactured in the USA on state-of-the-art CNC equipment, HPP hydraulic pedals and their accessories set the standard for simulation racing. For more information, please visit hppsimulation.com. And with just about 13 seconds left in qualifying, everybody's got that done. We got plenty of time, so let's do it a row at a time. Richie, as we bring up the starting grid right now, no supplies to see those two adrenaline teammates up there. Adam Blocker, your point leader, he's going to be flanked by Andrew Kinsella.
Yeah, coming up in row 2 will be Dan Guerin, and right next to him will be Brian Yazik.
You know, let me check. As I spoke, my graph changed a little bit. So it's Blocker and Goodman in the front row. I'm sorry, Guerin and Yazik in row 2. Things just jumped here on the very end. Got to it too quick. I can do row 3. It's our top rookie. Well, used to be our top rookie. He's now second. Stefan Larkamp inside of Justin Weaver. Yeah,
they're starting right next to each other, so that should be exciting. Next up will be IndyCar driver Sage Karam, and right next to him is Andrew Kinsella.
Chris Sleepy Lanini in 9th. He's going to be inside of Brian Beard.
Next up on the next row is 6th row will be James Krahula and Bart Workman.
The Baker's Dozen spot goes to George Anzaldo. He's going to be cited by Scott Bolster.
Row 8 will be Pierre Daigle and Mark Cohen.
Christopher in 17th, inside of Tyler Graff.
Row 10 is going to be Bob Mikas and Brian Greenlee.
Hidden Blackjack, it's the Candyman Dustin Wardlow, flanked by Ron Hacker in the double duck spot.
Row 12 will be Brandon Linkerman and Joe Flanagan.
It's the Big Joe Show. Joe Hassard in the quarter-century mark inside of Ed King Tutwiler.
Row 14 is going to be Tony Schoen and Dylan McKenna.
29th and 30th are Matthew Mercer and Scott Johnson.
31st is going to be Robert Bluen, and next to him will be Jack Bogan.
Mitchell Moeller and Samuel Ryman go 33rd and 34th.
And on the last row, not putting in a time, though, will be Racing Kangaroo Gray and Woody Mahan.
Little sandbagging going on as those last 3 drivers did not put in qualifying times. As we do our little flyby over the field, look at how beautiful those cars sparkle underneath this Australian sun. Let's talk about the weather a little bit when we get a chance here as we do our flyby. There you see, Richie, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a nice day here in Phillip Island. You know, air temp 79 degrees, 92-degree track temp. That's perfect for these cars. We do have a stiff breeze there, though, at 14 miles an hour out of the east, so this might affect the cars just a little bit. 85% humidity, obviously 0% fog. That track temp's going to be good, so tires will wear pretty well. But you know, that wind speed might come into effect.
We have 3 onboard cameras that we'd like to show you now. We're going to start by taking a look at Michael Goodman in the Butt Kicker car. See all the family of Butt Kicker products at buttkicker.com. And we go over to Brian Yazik. He's in the HPP onboard camera. HPP is awarding a Formula Racing wheel valued at just under $1,500 to the season champion. HPP, designed to go fast, built to last. And then we got the number 20 machine of Jack Bogan in the Dirty Blinds onboard camera. Who better to teach new window treatment cleaning techniques than the company that developed most of them? DirtyBlinds.com. And again, I would like to reinforce that that company will clean your dirty blinds. They will not give you dirty blinds. Nobody would want that. I think it's kind of self-exclamatory there. Pace car working now through, this is a passing zone through Honda. This will be exciting, this right-hand hairpin.
Yeah, that'll be a very good spot to outbrake somebody, but you got to be careful by not going in too deep, because if you do send it, you'll be off in the grass and losing a lot of positions.
Talk about off in the grass. I've been told they call it Siberia because if you get off in the grass, that's where you end up. And of course, that's corner number 6 as the drivers will work up the hill into, oh man, Lukey Heights. There's Dan Blocker in his familiar Dodger blue machine. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Adam Blocker. Dan Blocker, of course, the star of Bonanza. Haas Cartwright for all you old enough to remember that one.
Yeah, you're showing your age there.
Sorry. Now down into corner number 10, which I have been told is the MG corner.
Yeah, you can see how they come over that hill, and it's a really good straight line braking, but you come over very hot. So probably see some action there as we go through the race tonight.
And then out of 11 down into the sweeping corner that is 12. Then we'll be getting on the gas. The control is going to be turned over to Adam Blocker. And he's on the gas right now. Gather at the chickens. Take cover behind the cows. The horses are out of the barn. And it's our point leader leading them down into the first corner. Look at this, making a move on the inside. It's Dandy Dan Guerin. He's going to challenge for second. And I think he's going to get it on the inside of Michael Goodman. Goodman continues to fight for that position. He'll have the preferred position now through the southern loop, and he holds on to second. Fourth and fifth, Brian Yazik and Stefan Larkamp.
We did have somebody off there in the middle of the pack there. I don't know who it was, but so far everybody kind of keeping it very clean on these opening laps. We do have some challenges. Ooh, we got Andrew Kinsella trying to make a move into Honda there. Looks like he gets it done, but everybody stacks up behind him.
This reported was Bob Micas, who spun on his own in front of everybody. Luckily, the car went off into the grass. Everybody able to get around. Sage Karam has moved up into fourth, getting around Dan Guerin now. Again, Karam a much better racer than he is qualifying. It takes a little while for him to get used to the setup. Remember, they are adjusted fixed setups. Oh no, and we have an issue now. This was Dustin Wardlow. This is into Honda, and it was Brian Greenlee. Also, Brian Greenlee was parked on the track. Dustin Wardlow got a piece of him as he went by.
Yeah, here we come over around the hill, down into that tight right-hander.
You know, maybe it was well, it was Greenlee. I think we might have missed it there, Director. It was Brian Greenlee and Wardlow got together. Greenlee is actually in the pits now. Oh, our director had, there it is. And Wardlow just gets a piece of him going by.
Meanwhile, up front, Sage Karam's made another move to get up to third place. He just passed Brian Yazik, so starting in that 7th spot, he's definitely taking advantage of those fresh tires, and he's doing a great job running in that podium position at the moment.
So Greenlee makes a stop. Wardlow stays out after the contact. So up front, it's Blocker, Goodman, and then what Richie just talked about, Sage Karam picked up another position, going around Brian Yazik, Dan Guerin in 5th.
Everybody's kind of lined to stern right now as they come on to the front straightaway. That draft plays a big part here. So we do have Pierre Dagels coming in out of the pit lane, I just noticed. So I don't know if that was a scheduled pit stop. I believe we're going to be doing maybe 3 stops for this race.
Well, let's take a look at the race analysis right now because it's really interesting. We are going an interesting number of laps, 46, but they're telling me that the fuel stint is 15. I don't believe them. If it's 15, that means we go 15, 15, 15. You need a splash and go. I think we're going to do it in 2. Somebody's going to try to go it in 2.
Yeah, I think you can save enough fuel to save up that 1 lap. So we might see these guys take it a little bit easier on these opening laps to save that 1 pit stop. But Pierre Daigle might have thought differently and just pitted early, get it over with,
right,
and then he can go flat out the rest of the way.
You just splash and go out of the way. And there's Guerin in 5th. Now, we've talked about the drivers in the top half of the top 10. Let's go ahead and talk about the guys a little farther back. Stefan Larkamp races in 6th. Justin Weaver right behind him. Boy, the racing gods are funny. And look how they paired up those 2 rookies right next to each other. Andrew Kinsella in 8th. That fluorescent blue machine of Chris Lanini in 9th, being challenged by Brian Beard.
Yeah, that battle between Larkamp and Weaver, we'll have to keep an eye on that because that point battle is really close. Andrew Kinsella is 2nd in the points, but he's sitting back there kind of stuck in 8th place at the back of that group. He's got a big gap to Chris Lanini, so he can kind of just be patient. Knowing Andrew Kinsella, he's a pretty smart racer, so I guarantee you he's just kind of saving fuel, catching that draft, trying to save that extra lap.
You saw on screen there as Brian Beard got around the inside of Lanini, move him up into 9th.
Got a little bit of gap forming too out of after Sage Karam back to Brian Yazik. Brian Yazik's kind of the cork in the bottle with those 4 guys behind him. We got Dan Guerin, Stephen Larkamp, Justin Weaver, and Andrew Kinsella, as we mentioned before. We got basically Dan Guerin looking to poke his nose right there, trying to make a move as they come over the hill. But, you know, I think saving fuel right now is probably more important than making those moves.
Yeah, we don't know who's doing what right now. Oh, Mark Cohn has had a problem. He did it on his own, a little self-spin. Happened right in front of Tyler Graff. He got a good view of it. Cohn was racing in 14th position at the time, by the time he cycled out. And my goodness, oh man! Stay on this a bit here and watch how he almost comes out in front of Dustin Wardlow. Stay on this one. Where are you going? Wait, 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 wait. Woo!
Wow, he almost came out in front of about 4 guys, not just Dustin, but he does have a little damage on his front wing at the moment, so he's going to be hampered until he gets to that first pit stop. He might want to pit and just take that early pit stop, make it a 3-stop race.
Boy, it is messy as Joe Hassard has had it off now. Joe Hassard was Big Joe at the time, was racing in 18th position. Not a lot of attrition, but a lot of mistakes so far.
Yeah, I was watching these guys in practice, and I was seeing that a lot, like I said at the beginning. And it's really easy to just drop a wheel right at the edge of the track, and you're carrying so much speed through these corners. I mean, they're going 170 miles an hour coming onto that front straightaway, going all the way up to about 180 into turn 1, so there's not a lot of room for error.
Okay, we talked about Brian Yazik being the cork in the bottle. If I remember right, Guerin was behind him. Guerin has made that pass now. He is up to 4th. And then we look at this battle for P2. This is Goodman and Sage Karam. Karam getting a feel for this machine as we're now 6 laps in.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously pretty comfortable with the machine, racing in real life, but it takes a little bit maybe getting used to the setup, because
right.
you gotta run what everybody runs, and they do a good job giving you one, but knowing from personal experience, it does change your driving style a little bit sometimes. But Sage doing a great job, starting 7th all the way up to 3rd, really pushing Michael Goodman at the moment.
Yeah, that's a good correction on the lead commentator there. Of course he's used to the machine. It was the setup, though. This is a setup that everyone's forced to race. A nice battle, Director. We can go back to Larkamp and Weaver, this rookie battle. We hyped it in the opening. Battle for 6th. Weaver all over the back of him. Yeah,
Weaver is all over the back of him, and like I said, some of these guys at the beginning, you know, going back to Andrew as well, some of them might be trying to just save a little bit of fuel. It doesn't take much, you know. You're in that draft, you can lift a little bit, coast a little bit. That's where you save the fuel. Maybe not going right onto the brakes right away. And if they have to save 1 lap, that's going to be a big difference at the end of the race.
We expect pit stops to be on lap 15, but if they can go a little farther.
Yeah, if we can see some of these guys go to lap 16, then obviously we know they're going to make it a 2-stop.
Boy, that's Larkamp getting really frisky, really loose as he continues to work on being challenged by Weaver.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of gap to Brian, you know, so, you know, Steven might, instead of fighting so hard, might want to let him by and pick his draft up and just kind of sit there and wait for a little later stages in the race to make his move. Here they come over the hill. This is that spot I was talking about. Come in. No move for Justin Weaver at the moment. Ooh, Andrew Kinsella got a little loose on the power. They're coming out of that right-hander there in first gear, so
I think I got to run.
You got to get real easy, and here he comes. Justin Weaver getting a run, and looks like he's going to be able to make that move. Coming to this corner about 180 miles an hour, but looks like Steven's just going to kind of let him have it.
Larkamp really, really, really effective on the twisty courses. Weaver maybe not so much, but he shows that he can race. So now we have the 2 rookies racing 6th and 7th. It's the Moby Dickey machine out in front of Stephen Larkamp out there in the NY Man, it says. Not sure what that is. Look at this battle for 12th.
Yeah, between George Zanzaro and Tyler Graff going side by side. I believe that was the Honda corner. But Tyler Graff getting that pass done. starting 18th, moving up to 12th at the moment. Biggest mover I see right now, Dylan McKenna, starting 28th, all the way up to 15th.
Nicely done from Dylan. So we work lap number 8, about halfway through this first fuel stint. And it's going to be a very important first pit stop. Is going to tell us a lot how this race is going to play out. Two-stopper or a two-stopper and a splash and go.
Yeah, if it was that close, you're going to have to definitely make it a two-stopper.
Look at this. Brian Beard now under a track by Havaketch.
Yeah.
This Beard has made the move already.
Yeah, Brian got by Andrew there because Andrew was right on the back of Justin Weaver and Stephen Larkamp, but he lost that spot. We got Justin Weaver trying to go around Brian Yazik as well.
Oh, and just up in front there is that battle. And that's Yazik with Weaver. Weaver trying to pick up one more spot. He's bringing Larkamp with him. Yazik going the wrong direction. Qualified fourth, back in fifth right now, and about to lose one, maybe two more to a pair of rookies.
Yeah, he's struggling a little bit at the beginning. I don't know if he's trying to save some fuel. If he is, he's trying a little too hard because you don't want to give that type of track position up. But Justin Weaver, give him credit. He's moved up a couple of spots, and he's powering his way to Brian Yazik, who's right behind. He's going to get a good draft coming up on front straightaway here. And looks like he's going to be able to make that move. So move Justin Weaver up one more spot.
Larkamp not able to follow through. So Weaver on the move. Up front, it's still Blocker, Goodman, and Karam. Not much going on up there. I will admit that Sage Karam is close enough back there to block. In fact, look at this now. Blocker is really, that's not his strength into Honda.
No, Blocker was out a little bit farther than that, and these guys have chased him down, Goodman and Sage. So Sage has pushed Goodman to step up the pace a little bit, which has brought them up to Adam. Behind Sage, we've got quite a big gap to Dan Guerin. Dan Guerin's doing a good job in fourth spot, just kind of sitting there all on his own at the moment. So Justin Weaver ahead of Brian Yazik. Stephen Larkamp right behind Brian, trying to see if he can stay in touch with Justin, who's his main rival in that rookie standings. Meanwhile, Brian Beard has separated himself out a little bit from Andrew Kinsella. Those guys are all a little bit spaced out right now, not much happening. Big gap between James Krahula and Tyler Graff for 11th and 12th, but George Anzaldo has not given up, trying to get back that spot that Tyler took from him earlier as they go through turn one at the moment. Oh, he poked his nose in and going into turn two. It's a tough place to pass because you go over that rise, the car gets it's a little bit off camber, so you get a little bit.
And Karam has worked his way around Goodman up into second.
Yeah, he's done a great job, man. He's just really kind of got a handle on the setup here, starting seventh, now up to second. Great late braking there move, and now he's going to look for to take that spot from Adam. Adam's not, obviously Sage is not running for the point, so Adam would be smart if Sage really does challenge him, just kind of let him have it at the moment.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if there's anything more cool than getting to commentate with a former real-world IndyCar driver, it's beating an active real-world IndyCar driver on the track right now. That's got to mean something to Blocker, if he can hold off Sage Karam. But once again, Karam doing what he does. Not the greatest qualifier, but once he gets a feel for the setup, he starts to come.
No, it's very exciting to see him out there, see some of these real-world guys that are current racing in this series, because this series is really awesome. If I wasn't broadcasting, I would be out there.
Well, I'm glad you're with me. Let's look at sixth position. This is a nice one. This is Yazik and Larkamp. Now remember, Weaver just got around Yazik, so Larkamp wants to follow him through.
Yeah, right now Brian's kind of stacking up the field here. He's got Stephen Larkamp right behind him, Brian Beard, Andrew Kinsella, Chris Lanini, and James Krahula in that pink car this time, all kind of catching up. So we got a good battle here for that sixth position.
You know, the little commentator on my shoulder is telling me that Brian Yazik right now is saving fuel. I think that's why he's a little bit off the pace, just a touch.
No, he's pretty smart. He's a lot like Andrew Kinsella. Just kind of take it easy at the beginning and see where he is at the end. Well, we got a pass here. Brian Yazik going around Stephen Larkamp. So Stephen Larkamp got that position, but kind of giving it back.
Looking at some pit stops, Chris Lanini and Tyler Groff in.
So obviously those two have decided they're going to make a 3-stop strategy. Sage Cameron's gotten right on the back of Adam Blocker at the moment, so he's chasing him down. He's brought Michael Goodman with him. We are working lap 13, coming up to start lap 14 very soon. So pit stops will come into play for these gentlemen.
Breaking it up into 3 equal segments, basically. Or I guess it'd be maybe 4 equal segments, I guess, yeah.
Well, the key is making that 2-stop strategy work, because if you got to come down for a one lap of fuel, you're kind of giving it up at the moment, I think.
Riding on board with Michael Goodman in that butt kicker car. And of course, let's talk a little bit about Butt Kicker. They're one of our sponsors here today. I can do that right now for you. If you're a sim racer looking to add that missing driver-to-car connection, bringing more realism to your session, Butt Kicker is the way to go. The Butt Kicker moves actual mass, producing a haptic immersion that's powerful and accurate. See all the family of Butt Kicker products at buttkicker.com, thebuttkicker.com. Use the promo code LION20, get 20% off your order.
Yeah, we just saw that pass right on the screen. We saw Sage Karam go around the outside of Adam Blocker under braking, so that was pretty bold of him, as I believe that's coming into Honda, I believe. Comes around the outside, locks up the front just a tiny bit, but able to get the power down, and we have a new leader here.
Yeah, Blocker took that defensive line and said, Karam said, all right, I can go around the outside. Well, now let's see what Karam can do. Oh, Weaver.
Oh, no, Weaver off into the tires there. Now he's high-sided on the track. So we'll watch the replay, but I'm watching him live. He is high-sided. He's going to have to take a tow. He is screwed right now.
It was Mitchell Moeller, the lap car he was trying to get underneath. Then when he came out,
just stay on it here. He tries to get going. You can see he's high-sided. He didn't back up enough, and he has just taken a tow. But so that has really messed him up. That's sure Stephen Larkamp's not too upset about that, but that's too bad for Justin.
It's like Sean Ambrose trying to drive down a steep driveway. You got to get out of the car. That's the trick.
I heard that's the trick.
Yeah. You know, it's all about ride height.
It's all about ride height. You're right. That if you don't have the rake correctly, you're going to get high-sided.
Boy, pit lane is heating up.
All these guys coming in on 15 lap. We do have the leader, Sage Karam. Adam Blocker's right behind him. We'll see if they come in this time. They're coming. Here they come. So they are able to save enough fuel to make it to lap 16. So we got first, second, and third all coming in together. Dan Guerin being in third at the moment. They're nose to tail as they come in.
So what does this mean? If they pit completing lap 15, that means if they
so they've done 16 laps. So they've done 16 laps. Yep. Those other folks have did 14 laps or 15 laps, I should say. So they might be able to save enough for the next round. Sage Karam is off the marks and on his way. Adam Blocker got a little drag race, but Sage Karam is going to hold on to that position. They are using that long pit road exit instead of right onto the track, and they come right in front of traffic, but fresh tires, they should be fine. I don't know what happened to Dan Guerin. He got left behind a little bit there.
Looking at the pit stop times for everybody. Guerin was just a couple seconds slower than most of those guys.
Yeah, it was 8.9 seconds to, I guess it wasn't too bad, but it just seems like he came back out a little bit farther than it seems on the time.
All right, so Andrew Kinsella is yet to pit. He's our leader now. He's certainly able to go on just a two-stopper.
Yeah, he saved a lot of fuel, so he's got to come in this time, and here he comes right now. Right behind him is Brian Greenlee as well.
Brian, a lap down. Kinsella might be saying to myself, my goodness, I maybe saved a little too much. Well, now he can race with a little more reckless abandon. So as Sage Karam comes out of Swan, he's going to inherit the lead.
Yep, he's got Adam Blocker right behind him. Michael Goodman re-inherited third place from Dan Guerin from that pit stop. He was almost a second and a half faster than Dan in the pit stop, so I don't know if Dan missed his box or whatever, but Dan Guerin, or Michael Goodman's back into third.
Larkamp is about fifth in line behind the leaders, but 32nd as he's a lap down. Look at the battle for the look. Oh my goodness, that's Sage Karam is off in Honda.
Yeah, that's where he made that move on the outside to Adam Blocker. So here we go on board, coming around. He coming into this corner very fast, and it just looks like maybe he just got on the brakes and rear locked up, and away he goes. He's going to lose a couple of positions, but no damage to the car, so he can keep on going. He definitely has a fast car, so I expect him to kind of make his way back up there.
Like Sisyphus and flip-flops, the toil continues for Sage Karam as he'll have to do it all again.
Right by him is Justin Weaver. He's a lap down, and it's unfortunate. He was having a good race in that battle with Stephen Larkamp, and got high-sided, so he's just going to have to try to see what he can get. He's not going to win, but just try to see how many positions he can make up to keep that points battle tight.
Driving the Moby Dickie's car, I think maybe he got beached is what happened there.
Yeah, he definitely got beached. He did not have that ride height correctly set for being off track.
He didn't talk about that in the setup corner about that happening. Let's look at fifth position. This is Yazik and Larkamp now. Larkamp can race with a little less panic as he knows that Weaver's had issues in that rookie race.
Yeah, and one thing I want to notice, we missed this, but Michael Goodman is now in first place. He's ahead of Adam Blocker. He was in third, and now he's ahead of Adam Blocker, so we missed that pass. I don't know if Adam made a mistake or not.
I think that might have happened in the Karam incident. I think he might have taken advantage when Blocker had to roll up a bit. I'm doing a quick replay to see if that was indeed the case. Nevertheless, we have a new leader. Yeah, sure enough, that's exactly where it happened, into Honda. Now Kinsella moves up into P9. Remember, he can race with a little heavier foot than some of these guys because he went one extra lap. He goes around Tyler Groff.
Yeah, he played it smart at the beginning. I noted that he was in that big pack, so he saved one full lap of extra fuel. So we'll see what kind of lap times he can put in as he gets going. He's got just some distance to make up to Michael Goodman, the leader, but that might make a difference as we come to this next round of pit stops.
As things settle down, we get a little chance to talk about some of the drivers we haven't talked much about. Just ahead of these guys is Chris Lanini and Brian Beard as they race 7th and 8th. Lanini in that fluorescent blue machine. Big mover, Tyler Graff, though, up 8 spots back there in 10th when we were looking at him with Kinsella.
Yeah, right now we got Michael Goodman, Adam Blocker, just about 2/10 apart from each other. And Dan Guerin and Sage Karam, they're right to each other.
In fact, let's go to the lead because I think we're going to have this. Look at this right now. He's not going to do it. Blocker is right there. He's going to get him next lap.
I don't know if Adam's trying to save some fuel because he could have probably easily made that pass. So he might be trying to just save a little bit more. He might be a little bit short and seeing his numbers. So having Goodman in front of him is probably maybe not a bad thing if that's what's happening. And what I wanted to point out is Sage Karam running 4th, but he's got a huge gap to Stephen Larkamp, a full 8.5 seconds.
Yeah, Karam just going around Robert Bluen out there, Justin Weaver. Karam in 4th. Got Dan Guerin ahead of him. Guerin's got about half a second to get up to Adam Blocker. No, let me make that 1.5 seconds. Remember, Blocker led most of that first stint, so maybe you're right. Where's he going to go anyway if he gets around Goodman? He's not going to leave him behind. So.
Yeah, I want to point out something you mentioned with Adam Kinsella being able to put the hammer down. His last lap was a 1:12.1, while Michael Goodman and Adam Blocker was a 1:12.8. So even if they're in traffic, he's still making up. That's 0.7 of a second he's made up on this last lap to his championship rival.
That's Tony Schowen in 26th, the last car on the lead lap, or was the last car on the lead lap. He lets the 2 leaders go by. Bob Mikas goes by in 26, and here comes Guerin. And there's the Sage.
Yeah, they're all in heavy traffic right now, so maybe ignore those lap times I was talking about. I see Sage locking up the front tire. Oh, there goes Bob Mikas getting on the gas a little too hard, and he's gonna just spin it around and keep going here, but just a little hard on the gas.
Don't think he hit anything. He cycles out in 29th. He was already a lap down.
Battle up front, still fairly close. I mean, Michael Goodman's a half a second ahead, but he's also Adam Blocker and all them just went through traffic. Sage Karam going through all that heavy traffic. He's 2.3 seconds behind. Got a little bit to make up to get it back up to the lead where he was early on.
Boy, look at Karam as he weaves his way in front of Ryman, then on the inside of Johnson. Coming through a little cleaner is Dan Guerin.
Yeah, we missed that through that traffic zone. Sage was behind Dan Guerin, but Sage was able to make the move on Dan, so Sage moved Sage up to 3rd place.
Let me give you the interval then from Blocker back to Karam. It is 2.3 seconds.
Yeah, just try to keep an eye on those lap times. He was about 0.2 of a second faster than Adam that last time. And going back to Andrew Casella, we'll keep an eye on him. He's he's going through some traffic, so his lap times aren't so great. But 1:12.3 that last time by.
Here's a spot we haven't really had much chance to look at, this battle for 15th position. That's a little home cooking there for Michael Gray, the Racing Kangaroo, ahead of Joe Flanagan. And this is our driver profile for Michael Gray, the Australian. Oh no, as we do it, he spins the car. So when we come back, maybe he'll have the car going straight. There it is. Oh, Michael. 98 starts. I think he's had a few more than that, actually. I think he's up to 101. Pole position's done. Career stats. He's got a couple wins. 23 top 5s, 34 top 10s, but here's a stat. It's been 21 races since his last top 10. And now we'll go ahead and look at the incident. This is not commentator's curse. This is a director's curse here. I did not call for that profile there. Going over the hill, the car just gets a little light and comes around. We'll see who we can find out who that was. It looked like it was Flanagan. Yeah, who got it? Oh, Flanagan gets a hard hit. And now we come back live. So what's going on since we've been away? Well, Goodman still leads.
Yeah, Goodman's
not that close.
Yeah, Goodman's put in a really good lap. 1:12.0, but Adam Blocker's right there with him, 11.9. Sage Karam right there with them as well. It's a 12.0, but he's still 2.6 seconds behind.
Yeah, I find it impossible that Karam can be racing as hard as he is right now and still being able to do this on a 2-stopper. Just all you little soldiers in Clip Support Army, make a little asterisk by Karam's name. There might be a splash and go in his future.
Yeah, he's got Dan Guerin right behind him, pushing him a little bit as they go around Justin Weaver. But up front, just as we said, Michael Goodman, Blocker, Karam, Guerin, Stephen Larkamp still holding steady in 5th place, although he's 10 seconds behind. He's got Brian Yosick right behind him. Chris Lanini doing a good job hanging in with Brian Yosick as well. Adam Kinsella is not making as much movement as I thought he would at this point. He's still in 7th spot, 8th spot, looks like. 7th spot. Oh, he just went around Chris Leonini.
Yeah, I've been watching him too. He's had a ton of lap traffic to get around. I think once he clears here Bob Mikas, then you have a run on Yazik.
Yeah, and Chris Leonini's coming into the pits at the moment. That's a little bit off schedule.
And yes, I know that Larkamp and Yazik went through the same traffic that that Kinsella had to go through, but this seemed like Kinsella was catching him at a weird time.
A lot of traffic, leaders going through, but Michael Goodman still leads. Adam Blocker, Sage Karam looks like he's closed up a little bit, a couple of tenths being pushed by Dan Karen. It'll be interesting to see, like you said, if Sage has been able to save enough fuel to keep from having to do that splash at the end, but that'll play itself out as we get closer here.
21 cars on the lead lap, the last one being Chris Stouffer, started 17th. He's fallen back 4 positions, nothing between him and the leader, except a good distance of track. Stouffer, 1:07 behind the leaders with a lap time of 1:11. You do the math, that's about 4 seconds ahead of the leaders.
I think Adam Blocker is just kind of hanging tight. He's just hanging right around that 0.3 of a second. I don't think he's worried about making a move on Michael Goodman at the moment, just trying to save a little bit more fuel at the moment, I think.
He's as much concerned with the interval behind him with Sage Karam as he is with Goodman. I think if Karen starts to make a run, then we might see Blocker try to get around Goodman right now. But if that gap between second and third holds steady, I think Blocker's happy to sit back there and just take it easy. We talked about Kinsella. And sure enough, he was able to get up on Yazik, get a run, and picks up that spot.
Yeah, move him up to 6th position. So he's definitely starting to make his move, starting in 8th up to 6th. So, you know, that extra lap he saved might be coming into play.
He can race with a clear conscience.
Yep, got a really good run out of this corner right here. This is a real slow corner. Oh, Goodman's in.
This is early. This
is really early. I mean, he's obviously committed to a 3-stop strategy because he can't make it. You know, that would be what, almost 18 laps. So he's decided to make this a 3-stop strategy. We might see this play into Andrew Kinsella's hands. We'll just keep an eye on that because he did do that extra lap. And, you know, this might play into his part.
And Kinsella now up to 4th as he makes quick work of Stephen Larkamp. So, boy, once he got the lap traffic out of the way, he made up some time. Doesn't do a great job finding the apex there through Honda, but that's all right.
So our new leader's Adam Blocker with Sage Karam in 2nd. We'll see if they come into the pits this lap. I'm surprised that Michael came in that early because he's definitely going to have to make it a 3-stop strategy. Adam Blocker's going around again as well as Sage Karam. So, you know, I think they're committed to the 2-stop strategy.
The first stint, Goodman did not do any leading. He was following the whole way. But he made it to lap 15. 15, 15, and 15 is 45. They still need that one extra one somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, he came in early enough to where he's going to need 3 laps of fuel. So I think I would have tried it a little bit longer to see if we can save enough to make that happen. Because coming down that pit lane, you're just going to lose so much track position, sorry.
Looking at George Anzaldo in 9th. He started the race in 13th. Has picked up 4 spots. George, a veteran of the series.
Looks like Dylan McKenna still is our big mover of the race from 28th to 12th, but Ed Tutwiler has gone from 26th to 14th, so he's doing a good job there as well.
Talking about Anzaldo, how about 109 races today? There's Ed King Tutwiler, yes indeed.
I mean, I know you don't like to do this, Soup, but Woody Mayhem, I think, might be our biggest mover from 36th to 17th. He did not put a qualifying lap time, so I don't know if that counts for you.
Well, it's certainly worth noting, but we just don't give him the Hard Charger Award. But it's a nice run through the field. Just no hardware to go with it. So Blocker is our leader. 1.8 seconds up on Karam. You know, last time I checked, that gap was about 2.3. So Karam beginning to close in a little bit on Adam Blocker. Don't forget, now you guys, get your clipboards out. Don't forget about Michael Goodman. He's in 7th, 26, almost, Mark say 27 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah, but he's definitely going to have to make an extra stop. The real key is going to be seeing who can go to lap 31 lap, hit on lap 31. If we get to lap 31, then you know you're on a 2-stop strategy.
Yeah, Michael Goodman, good to go on one more stop. We're not sure about Blocker, Karam, all those guys up there. We think Kinsella is good, although he's been racing really hard this stint. A lot harder than he raced the first time. Kinsella went one more lap than everybody. Currently in 4th.
Last time by, Adam Blocker at 12.0. Karam and Garin in the 2s, 12.2s. Andrew Kinsella in the 2s. So Adam Blocker's got the hammer down.
Let's go to Tutwiler right now. We just give him a little love. He got into it with Samuel Ryman. Those two guys got together. Tutwiler was way off the pace. Did he miss a shift or the car that's going to lose? Oh, he's coming out of the pits. Ryman just runs up on him. Ouch! Well, we'll get a good look at it from Sam's point of view.
Yeah, Sam's coming in, like I say, coming in this corner about 180 miles an hour. Yeah, it just looks like he misjudges a little bit and hits the right in the back of Tutwiler.
Miscommunication. I think he thought that Tutwiler was going to stay to the right, then he decided to come across.
And Karam's in. Karam's in the pits. Adam Blocker continues on, so Karam's into the pits. So that's lap 30. He's going to have real struggles, I think, to make it on 2 stops. I think Adam Blocker is going to be able to squeak it out.
Yep. He gets to 31. I think that should do it. He's on 31 right now. He's just got to finish this, and I think he should be good to go. Don't know how fast he can go. Yeah,
but Dan Garin's out there too, and Andrew Kinsella move him up to 3rd place. We know, pretty sure Andrew Kinsella can make it on one more stop. If Adam Blocker can get around this lap, I'm sure he can make it on one more stop, and as well as Dan Garin. It's going to put, I don't know where that's going to put Sage Karam when he comes out of the pits. Oh, he's coming out in 6th position, but he's going to have to stop again.
And the question is, where does he come out in relationship to Goodman?
I think
he comes up behind Goodman. Yeah, Goodman's up Goodman's in 6th, and Karam back in 7th, and now we have Joe Hasser took a tow.
And Adam Blocker's coming into the pit lane, so he's pitting. Dan Garin is going around. Oh, Dan Garin's in. Andrew Kinsella is, we'll see if he pits this lap. He should have one more lap on these guys. You know, and what that, oh no, Andrew's coming in. So all these guys are coming in on the same lap. So there you go. They're going to be able to make it on this last stop.
Maybe those other guys can too, but they're not going to be able to race as aggressively.
Yeah, they're going to have to save some serious fuel, save a full lap. So we'll see. Michael Goodman, though, is technically going to be the leader. Oh, he's coming out. Yep. Came out right in front of Adam Blocker, so he's back to where he was. So no harm, no foul. But we'll see if he can. He's going to have to save some fuel, and he'll be able to keep that position.
Big Joe Hasser took a tow. He came out of pit lane. Maybe the car wasn't feeling well. Oh, the car didn't take any fuel, so he ran out of gas. Well, that'll teach you to run it so long, Joe. If you would have come in a lap earlier, you could have got around one extra. My dad taught me, don't drive the gas tank till it's empty. All right, so here's what happens. Blocker is your leader by 1.2 seconds.
No, Goodman's leader.
Goodman is our leader. Sorry about this. Goodman is your leader. Let's do this now. Now the Soup's on board. Blocker right behind him. And then a little bit farther back to Karam.
Yeah, Sage Karam, Dan Guerin. We're basically where we started these pit stop rounds. The key is going to be, can Goodman and Karam go the distance? They pitted a lap earlier than Blocker, Guerin, and Kinsella. So we'll see what happens as we get close to the end.
Well, we know Goodman's going to have to pit again because he pitted so much earlier, he's going to need a little more fuel. I don't know if taking on that extra fuel matters that much in these cars. The fuel's going pretty fast.
No, you definitely, it'll matter a little bit, but if he has to come down pit lane, that's going to just basically screw his race. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. Brian Yazik doing a good job in 7th place. He's got Steven Larkamp, our rookie points battle, looking good for him. He's going to probably reclaim that lead as Justin Weaver had that mistake early on, and he's sitting back. Where is he sitting right now? He's sitting back in 21st spot.
Well, this gives us an opportunity with the pit stop done to talk about one of our onboard cameras, and that belonging to Jack Bogan. Bogan right now racing in 33rd position with the Dirty Blinds onboard camera. You know, with the introduction of new window treatments, new ultrasonic blind cleaning techniques are going to be required. Who better to teach these new blind cleaning techniques than the company that developed most of them? Dirty Blinds always looks for the best way to clean, market, and service the blind cleaning customer. Check them out at dirtyblinds.com. You know, I just want to clarify, when I was talking blind cleaning customer, I'm not talking about someone who's visually impaired. It's somebody who's cleaning your window treatment. Just want to make sure we understand.
So up front, Michael Goodman still holding a little, about 7/10 of a gap to Adam Blocker. Sage Karam has dropped off this group a little bit. He's now 2.3 seconds behind. He's running about 0.2 of a second slower that last lap. Dan Guerin kind of running on his own. He's up front. Everybody's kind of separated out. We're not missing anything. The key is Andrew Kinsella getting up to Adam Blocker for that championship battle, and obviously Michael Goodman and Sage Karam to see if they can go the distance without stopping one more time.
Well, I can guarantee you Michael Goodman's not going the distance. Sage Karam, maybe. I haven't seen it in his first 2 stints. He's going to have to save a little bit, but he's been racing really tough on the first 2 stints. So,
yeah, I'm just basing it off when they came in. They came in on lap with about 16 laps to go. So he's going to have to save fuel on this stint instead of the beginning if he can make it.
Well, that's no big deal. That's what Kinsella did on the first one. He went 16, then went 15, so he should be good. And as we look here, as Brian Beard coming in for his final stop.
Yeah, he's on a little bit different strategy there. He stopped early on, I believe, so stopping with about 14 laps to go.
You know, right as we speak, we had a little contact with Matthew Mercer and Scott Johnson. These guys were racing still, well, they were 1 lap down. I'm not sure if our director's going to be able to find it. They got together in Honda. Take a look at this one. A little bit of a dive bomb here, maybe. Let's see. I just saw it quickly. Mercer brings it down.
Yep, coming in Honda. Just brake a little late, and 8 wheels are better than 4, right?
Yeah. And actually on that one, he got around the car he was trying to pass, which was Johnson or Workman, and he got into Johnson. It was really 2 cars up, so might be a little post-race conversation about that one.
So, up front, Michael Goodman, Adam Blocker. Adam's closed the gap just for a second, but it's spread out a little bit. But they have dropped Sage a little bit. I believe Sage, looking at his lap times, he's trying to save some fuel, so he's dropped off about a half a second a lap what he was running earlier. So he's probably looking at that fuel number, and he's going to have to save some fuel to make it to the end. Kind of more worry about Dan Guerin behind him.
Yeah, a guy's having a real good race. Tyler Groff just made his, I believe, his third and final stop. He's going to come out in 10th, started in 18th. He's good to go from here. Nice run from Tyler.
Yeah, and I'm surprised Andrew Kinsella, he's running in 5th, but he's 17 seconds back from Dan Guerin, so he's dropped off a little bit. I don't know if he had some issues in traffic or whatever. He was a little closer earlier on.
A lot of those guys up front nursing it a bit. None more than Karam, who's got to go that extra lap.
Yeah, Sage has dropped off. He's now running at 112.9, while Adam Blocker just put in a 111.7. So a good healthy second. He's now 5 seconds back from Adam.
I'm going to jump you back to 6th position because I think I feel a pass coming on here pretty soon. This is Stefan Larkamp, Brian Yosik right up behind him. Take a look, see if they're on the same pit strategy. They are on identical strategies.
Yeah, and they've been nose to tail for a while now. Stephen Larkamp's had to hold off Brian Yosik for a while. Oh, Goodman's in. Our leader's in the pit, so this is going to be, he came in, short pitted it the first time, and he's going to have to pit with 9 laps to go, and he's not going to be able to make that up. So really, Adam Blocker is our leader. Sage Karam is a question mark at the moment. Dan Guerin, he's probably going to be able to make it in that 3rd position. You can see Sage Karam has gone one more lap than these gentlemen, so that's why he has slowed down. But he is running by himself, so he's got no pressure behind, so he can just save and coast and try to finish in that 2nd position. So we only got 9 laps left.
Goodman cycles out in 5th, ahead of Larkamp and Yosik by a good distance, almost 4 seconds. So he's got plenty of fuel. He can race all out now. But the interval's just too big. He does have Kinsella in front of him, though, that he could get to.
Yeah, Kinsella is definitely good on fuel. We know that. So he moved him up 1 spot to 4th. But he's going to lose some points to Adam unless Adam has a problem. This is not going to work out for him in that championship battle like he wants.
So that interval to Kinsella, between Kinsella and Goodman, 1.3 seconds. Goodman is coming. Kinsella's got some traffic in front of him. He's got to deal with Mitchell Moeller. He's racing in 26th. Mitchell is 2 laps down. And then Bart Workman is 17th, 1 lap down.
Not many battles going on the track. Everybody's separated out fairly evenly. Probably our closest battle is going to be Stephen Larkamp and Brian Yosik. As that continues on, Brian has not been able to get close enough to make a move. But behind him, we got James Krahula, who's kind of running on his own, about 6.5 seconds behind Brian. Behind him, Chris Lanini in 9th position. A good, man, he's way behind James Krahula. And then Tyler Graff in our top 10 spot. Doing a good job, start 18th and then 10th spot, but he's just kind of a lonely 10th at the moment.
Well, with things slowing down, let me show you what's going on. Let's take a second. We'll go up to our leader, Adam Blocker. We think he's good to go, although he may not be able to race full speed. He's got 8 seconds on the driver in 2nd, which is now Sage Karam. Again, we think Karam really has to save. Karam's only got 1.3 on Dan Guerin. Guerin's a lap less that he has to put in on this stint. I think Guerin's got a good chance of getting up to Karam.
Yeah, I want to point that out, is that his last lap, Sage has really backed it off. He's running in the 113s at the minute, while our leader is in the 111s. Dan Guerin's 112.0. So Sage is definitely struggling to get that car to the finish. He's doing everything he can to make this work.
You ride on. You can see back there at Dandy Dan closing in on him.
I think Dan's going to be able to get by him. I think that Sage is really looking at those numbers, and Dan is closed right up behind him. So kind of keep an eye on that battle. Adam's all on his own out there, going through some lap traffic at the moment. Andrew Kinsella in 4th, doing a good job, but I know he probably wanted a little bit more. he's got Michael Goodman all over the back of him, and Michael Goodman obviously has fresh tires and good on fuel, so we'll keep an eye on that as well.
Yeah, that's another pass I expect to happen. I think Garen's going to get Karam for second.
Oh, here comes Garen right now. Garen's going around Sage. Got the inside line going. There we go. And, yep, move Sage Garen back to third. Dan Garen up to second.
No repass on that. We'll take another look at it.
Yeah, I think Sage is basically handcuffed by his fuel strategy, so I don't think there's much he can do. He's got a big gap to Andrew Kinsella, so you just gotta hang out, finish get that podium position.
I think handcuff was a great term. I was going to say that he's racing with his hands tied, and it's really a shame. I'd kind of like to see what Sage could do. Let him race, but it has definitely been a fuel strategy race this entire time. Okay, so we've talked about the front three. Let's go back to Kinsella. Back and forth right now because here comes Goodman. Now, Goodman's got about 6 seconds back to Larkamp. Not an issue.
Yeah. Goodman's. I think Goodman's going to get by him just purely by the fresh tires. He is closed right on the back of him, and didn't get quite the run he needed, I think, going down the front straightaway. But we still have 5 laps to go, and Goodman. I mean, Andrews needs to fight this off. He needs all the points he can get, but Michael Goodman's got those fresh tires.
Right on board with the Andrew Kinsella.
Adam Blocker's just cruising along to the front. He's just put in some really good lap times just to kind of clear everybody out. He's got 11-second lead over Dan Garen. But that battle, like you said, we were talking about is really between Kinsella and Goodman, and those points are important.
So we looked at that battle for fourth. We'll leave that for just a second. I don't want to leave here unless I know Michael's not going to make a pass. Let's hang on here. We'll stay on this one all the way down into corner number 1 and see if Goodman makes a move. Then we'll talk a little bit further back.
Yeah, I keep watching this battle, and Goodman keeps making just coming into that tight right-hander off of Lukey Heights a little too hard, and he loses all that drive, and that just opens up the gap to Andrew Kinsella, so there's not going to be a move made this time.
Well, that'll give us an opportunity to drop back to this battle. It's even a little closer. In 6th position, they've been nose to tail in different orders, but it's been Larkamp and Yazek pretty much the whole race. Larkamp now as they come up on the back of Bart Workman. Workman does a good job of getting out of the way. Those guys race for 6th.
That's going to be a great, if Steven can finish where he's at, it's going to be a great points haul in that rookie point standing as Justin Weaver made that mistake early on. I'm sure he's not very happy with himself. And we'll just probably change hands on that rookie point standings going into the next round.
Racing with one eye on each monitor here as I keep an eye on this battle for 6th, which is settled down, and also the battle for 4th. I think we better go up to, let's go up and look at Kinsella one more time because Goodman's about a car length back now.
Yeah, and here we come. We're going to come over down that hill. This is where he got a good run this time, so he's a little bit closer to Andrew coming on the straightaway. I don't know if he's got close enough to get that draft. He might catch him just at the end and not quite close enough to make the move. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on this.
Yeah, Goodman does a good job of running him down on the back half of the track, but he loses a lot of time out of corner number 10 and where the passing zone is. He just can't seem to get a good drive.
Yeah, Andrew does a good job coming out of that tight right-hander, that first gear corner. And that's key because that's the main passing spot. The rest, here comes Goodman. He's going to stick his nose in. Not quite there. And Andrew's got a mirror full of Goodman at the moment.
Yeah, he just can't get close enough where he's just having to make kind of a desperate stab. Not really doing anything desperate, but filling up the mirrors at least. And again, he loses a lot of ground here. He'll gain it back up, maybe down into corner number 10, but a little bit of the accordion effect, but too far back to really make a run. And we're lap 44, so we're getting close to where he's got to make that move pretty soon.
Yeah, I want to point out, we don't have to really go to it at the moment, but Sage Karam must have hit his fuel number because he's picked the pace back up, and he's now running in those mid-12s, and he's closing a little bit on Dan Guerin. Not quite close enough to make the move, but he must be happy with his fuel number at the moment, so we'll kind of keep an eye on that. But really the big battle is between Kinsella and Goodman.
And we were looking at Larkamp and Yazik. Well, that's no need to go there. That's real comfortable. Larkamp's out in front. Goodman making the move here.
Yeah, no real battles going on in the top 10. Everybody's separated out by, a couple of tenths, at least half a second.
All right, Blocker gets the white flag. I guess you could pull into pit lane and make that last stop on the white flag lap, but I think your box is probably past the start-finish line, so you're good to go. Guerin as well.
Yep, Adam Blocker doing an awesome job. Started first. I believe he led the most laps. Doesn't have the fastest lap of the race. That's going to go to Sage Karam at the moment, but he's still pushing, as we can see, just kind of staying in his rhythm. But he's going to get some good points and keep that points lead going into the next round if he finishes his lap out.
Unless he runs out of fuel, I think this one is his for the taking.
Yeah, he's been pushing pretty hard. Meanwhile, Goodman take a dove onto Andrew Kinsella in Honda corner, but not much to move. But here comes Adam Blocker for the win.
Out of 12, round number 17. Give the American Cancer Society Grand Prix of Phillip Island to Adam Blocker. Dan Guerin is going to hang on for second. Sage Karam is going to nurse that car around for third, assuming he has enough fuel. I think he's out of fuel, but he had enough cushion.
Yeah, basically he hit it perfect.
Kinsella gets fourth, holds off Goodman. Larkamp is going to get sixth, holds off Brian Yazik. Tenth position. This is Tyler Groff and Brian Beard.
Coming into that right-hander there, tight right-hander, Brian Beard. Not quite close enough. I think Tyler Groff is going to get it. There's no way to make a move unless Tyler makes that mistake, so give that 10th position to Tyler.
Really good run from Tyler, up 8 spots. He finishes just behind James Grahula and Chris Lanini. Beard takes 11th, and Brian is the last car on the lead lap, so the racing is done here in Australia. But our broadcast is far from over. We're going to take a short break, but don't go far because we will come back for the Plasma Tracks post-race show, where we'll talk to some of the drivers, run down the entire finishing order before we put a lock on the gate. Back in a few.
The Sim Pit is an entertainment channel dedicated to the world of simulated motorsports. The Sim Pit is a leader in providing the sim racing community with news, reviews, interviews, DIY pieces, and instructional videos to make sim racing a better experience for all. Check us out at thesimpit.com or go to YouTube and just search for The Sim Pit.
Welcome back to GSRC and the Plasma Tracks Victory Lane post-race show, coming your way via the iRacing Esports Network. If you're struggling to find something for the person who has everything, do I have the website for you? Plasma-Tracks.com not only produces original racetrack wall art, motorsports trophies, home decor, and motorsports fabrications are also available. Words cannot do justice to the uniqueness of their wares. The only way to fully appreciate their artwork is to see it for yourself, but be warned, one visit and the next thing you know, you'll be trying to convince your spouse why you need a plasma track wall art hanging in your home. See all the plasma-tracks.com. Well, see it all at plasma-tracks.com. Use the promo code LRS 2018 to get 25% off your order. Whew. Okay, and now let's bring up 100% of the HPP finishing order of the American Cancer Society Grand Prix of Phillip Island, presented by First Medical Equipment. Adam Blocker was your winner. Wasn't quite wire to wire, but basically it was a pretty good run for him. Dan Guerin comes home in second. Sage Karam might have been the fastest car out there, but it was all about fuel. He couldn't run full speed, and he was handcuffed. He had to settle for third. Andrew Kinsella, a nice run for fourth, ahead of Michael Goodman, who broke it up into 4 equal segments, more or less. Stephen Larkamp, he helps himself out in that rookie championship as he comes home in sixth, ahead of Brian Yosick. James Gerhula, a quiet 8th place for him. Likewise for Chris Lanini and Tyler Graff. Richie?
Yeah, coming in 11th will be our last car in the lead lap will be Brian Beard. Had a good battle with Tyler there for 10th. George Enzato comes in 12th. Chris Stouffer 13th. Woody Mayhem did a good job, 36 to 14th. Justin Weaver unfortunately had a self spin and got high sided and is up 15th, 1 lap down. Bart Workman in 16th. Bob Micah 17th. Dylan McKenna, great job too, 28th to 18th. Samuel Ryman 34th of 19th. And Brian Greenlee rounds out the top 20.
Time your kangaroo down, sport. Check it out, 1963. Google it. The Racing Kangaroo, Michael Gray in 21st position. He's going to be inside of Mark Cohn in the double duck spot. Matthew Mercer, Ron Hacker, and Big Joe Hassard go 23rd through 25th. Mitchell Moeller and Tony Schowen go 26th and 27th. And the next 4 spots go to Pierre Nightingale, Scott Johnson, Dustin Wardlow, actually the Candyman, in 30th. Richie?
Robert Bluen comes in 31st, started 31st, finishes 31st, 15 laps down, so had some issues there. Ed Tutwiler as well had some issues coming in 32nd. Jack Bogan in 33rd. Joe Flanagan 34th. Brandon Limpkerman. I keep saying your name wrong, Brandon. I'm sorry, in 35th. And Scott Bolster comes in 36th.
And I'm going to get a chance to talk to our race winner. It is Adam Blocker as he wins his 5th road course out of 6 tries this season. Adam, nice job. Let's talk about, could you race full speed or did you have to save early on?
So at least for me and the fuel numbers I was hitting, just pushing, I could only go flat out in the final stint when we had to do 15 laps. I also did 15 laps in the first stint. With the pace lap, you use up a little bit of fuel, which means you have to save on some laps, but you can push on others. So, yeah, and then obviously it was a big save to get the 16 laps in the middle stint. So my first goal was to try to figure out who was on what strategy and based on when they were pitting. And I knew in the second stint, I knew Goodman was not saving fuel. He was going for a 3-stop. So I could just sit behind him and draft off of him and easily make my fuel number, make great time. So I want to thank him for giving me the opportunity. And I don't know. It was just a pretty good race. It was really fun. The strategy was pretty chaotic. I think we had several different people lead, and yeah, it was just a good race. Anytime I win at one of my worst road circuits, I'm definitely happy with that. So.
Yeah, we were on to you with Goodman there. Goodman was clearly racing fast. He was doing the 3-stopper. You had no intentions of passing him. You don't like Phillip Island? This is a fun course. What's wrong with it? All those declining radius corners? Not up your cup of tea?
I mean, I like it. I like it in terms of it's fun to drive. I'm just not very good at it. So from that perspective, I don't like it too much. But yeah, it was definitely interesting. There's one thing I like about it is that you can pass. You can pass into turn 1 and 2, and then you can also pass into the hairpin at turn 4. And if you're really ambitious, you can pass on the exit into the hairpin at the end of the lap. So yeah, it was definitely interesting. Sage passed me around the outside in the hairpin and the inside, so he was definitely stronger on the braking. But I wasn't really too worried about it because I wasn't sure what strategy he's on. I knew at that point it was just be patient, hit the fuel number, and it'll come to me eventually. So, and I think he kind of was. I don't think he was gonna fuel save, and then he was kind of forced into it after he realized everyone else went 16 laps, and because he did 15, and then he struggled in the last stint when he had to make 16. So.
Yeah, you kind of took some of the firepower out of them on that last stint when he had to save. Hey, congratulations on the win. Kinsella comes home in 4th, so you put a little bit of distance between yourself and the teammate. Good luck down the road.
Yeah, thank you, Soup. Just want to thank you guys for calling the race. I want to thank Sage, Goodman, and Dan Guerin for the good race, and good finish for Adrenaline again. So definitely consolidating the team championship.
Adam Blocker, our winner here today. Okay, we're going to let Richie go ahead and talk to our second place racer, and that would be Dandy Dan Garrett. And let's bring Dan down in here. And there we go.
All right,
Richie.
Dan, you got a copy?
I do. You got me?
Yeah, we hear you. Hey, man, great job. Second place finish there. Looks like you're going to move up past Brian Yazik in the points, one more spot to 3rd, and looks like you got your bad luck out of the way. I don't want to curse you, but you've had a nice string of run here.
Yeah, I'm glad I got this monkey off my back finally after last week's win. I absolutely love Phillip Island. We've been here 3 years. I've got 2 poles, 2 seconds, and a win last year. So runner up again. I'm perfectly fine with that. That's a pretty good record for me. Congrats to Adam on that win.
Yeah, Adam did that last stint that Adam had he was running really fast, running in the 111s pretty much most of the time. Did you have to save some fuel? Did you do that at the beginning?
I was actually doing pretty good fuel saving at the beginning there because I was doing have a lot of lifting because of the traffic and everything. And the biggest savings I did was the second stint though, and I made sure I got my 16 laps in. I did just that, and then when I came out for the third stint, I started pushing it, and my fuel gauge started going down a little bit. I'm like, okay, well, I better start saving just a little bit more fuel here. Maybe to push the pass if need be. But, yeah, you had to save again.
Yeah, I noticed Sage, she ran pretty hard the first 2 stints. In that third stint, he actually ran out of gas as he came across the line. So probably made it a little bit easier for you to get up on him and make that pass.
Yeah, like Adam said, when he was kind of watching everybody else's strategies as well, and I saw Michael duck in a lap early. I thought, okay, well, he's definitely not going to go for it. And then I saw Sage and Adam duck in the same lap as me, and I'm like, okay, well, we're on the same strategy so far. Well, he started pushing it, and he dipped in another lap sooner that second time around. I'm like, okay, well, I know he's going to run out. And when I finally had my pit stop, he was 3 seconds out, and I noticed that he was starting to lift a lot. I gained on him in no time and ended up getting around him. And he started drafting me to try to save up enough fuel. So there you are, Sage. Got to help you.
All right. Yeah. He actually was running in the 113s for a while, so he was struggling. So, but man, great run. Last few races, really good run. And look forward to seeing you at the next one.
Yeah, the next one, Iowa, hasn't been the best of luck for me, but we're going to see what we can do there. Got my sponsor, Berkey Trucking, for it. But I want to give a shout out to my sponsors, Lock Precision, Midwest Simulations, Drive for Suicide Prevention. And just want to give a quick shout out to Brian Yasick. Come on over, buddy. Do some coloring later.
Awesome job, man. Well, great job, and we'll see you soon.
All right, everybody. Thanks.
And that was our second place finisher, Dan Guerin, who brings it home in second. Next up for us, I think if we can go ahead and bring in, we'll probably talk to, how about we talk to, let's talk to Tyler Graff. You know, we don't get a chance to talk to him. Kinsella finished fourth. We know what Andrew's going to say. Let's go ahead and talk to Tyler Graff. I thought he had a great race. Tyler, up 8 spots into 10th. Nice job.
Yeah, it was a good race. I was a little disappointed with qualifying, but I actually prefer this car on old tires, so qualifying I kind of just have to hope for the best.
That's all right. That bad qualifying run, it makes the commentators appreciate your race that much more. Let's talk about fuel. It looks like everybody was doing fuel. Did you 3-stop this one like everyone else, or did you 2-stop it?
I 3-stopped it. I didn't even really know 2 stops were an option, and I was a little trigger happy in the push to passes in the first stint, and kind of killed my tires a little bit. So I just played it safe. I felt like I had a good top 12, top 8, 9-ish secured. So we came home 10th. So that's a pretty good result.
Yeah. Do you like road? Are you a road racer or are you an oval guy? Which one are you happy to be on?
Currently road. I grew up racing karts and open wheel cars, so mostly road courses, but I love a good oval now and then.
Well, you had a nice, I thought it was a really strategic race. You just stayed out there, kept the car going straight. I don't think you got into any trouble anytime, did you?
No, I avoided a couple accidents, but yeah, I kept my nose clean and just kind of minded my P's and Q's this year. I came in 3 races late on the season, so hoping to make a run at it next year.
There you go. Well, we like what we're seeing. We'll follow you. The season closes out. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. Thank you for what you guys do.
Tyler Groff, and we're going to do one more. How about we do a little, we'll talk a little home cooking. How about we talk to, we'll let Richie talk to Michael Gray, the racing kangaroo. You would think he would have had a better finish, didn't have the result he wanted as he comes home 1 lap down in 21st. Richie?
Yeah, Michael, you there?
Yes, sir.
All right, welcome back home to Australia there. I know you probably weren't happy with that finish, but I noticed you got a start penalty, end of line penalty, so you had to start in the back, but still made it up to 21st spot. How was your race?
The race was kind of uneventful. I think all the action happened in lap 1s to 11. It was absolutely insane, but after making such a great start, I had a bad run going to the hairpin. I can't remember one lap, and made contact with Joe Flanagan. I would like to apologize for him because I think I took him out by mistake. But other than that, it's like just making it all the way to the end is all I wanted to do after coming back from a one race suspension. So it was just great.
No, I'm sure you're happy to be back. And I love driving this track as well. It's a lot of fun. I noticed you made 2 stops in the race, if that's correct. Was it hard to save some fuel?
No, especially since like you said, I started from the end of the line. I just hopped into the draft with some people, just rode safely until I was competent enough to make a pass going into turn 1.
And you were one of our spotlighted drivers tonight. Unfortunately, when we were doing that, we caught one of your spins. It's easy to go off on this track, I noticed. So, was it tough to keep it on the track?
No, it was relatively easy to keep it on the track. It's just going into the hairpin in turn 4. It's very easy to lock your rear brakes, especially the front brakes as well. So I think it was just trying to dial out the brake bias, which is very difficult to do, especially on the road courses.
Well, you're not alone, because I believe Sage Karam, while he was leading, he did the same thing, locked up his rear brakes and spun in turn 4. So you're not alone. Well, great talking to you. And I know it's not the finish that you want, but it's not a terrible finish. You moved up quite a few spots, and we look forward to seeing you next week at Iowa.
Yeah, thank you, especially after the very tough season. Just getting any finish is a great finish for me, especially at my home Grand Prix of, well, not exactly home Grand Prix. I stayed up, but home Grand Prix, so it was great. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and shout out to Sage Karam. Welcome to the insanity of Lionheart.
Well, it is your home Grand Prix, so you can call it. You're the only Australian out there, so congratulations, and definitely nice talking to you, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Richie. Thank you, Soup.
Say goodbye, mate, to Michael Gray, and now that means we're going to say goodbye, mate, to you guys. First of all, let's thank First Medical Equipment. They've been the source of medical supplies and equipment in the Burlington, Iowa area for years because of their superior commitment to provide the absolute best in product quality and customer service. Richie?
Yeah, sorry. I'm a little late here. Sorry.
That's
yeah,
all right.
let's go to our Butt Kicker sponsor here. Butt Kicker products add instant immersion to any game. Unlike a subwoofer that moves air and loses accuracy and force, Butt Kicker products move actual mass, producing a haptic immersion that's powerful and accurate. Butt Kicker products add that missing driver-to-car connection, bringing more realism and immersion to your sessions. See all the family of products at thebuttkicker.com. Please use the promo code LION20 to get 20% off your next order.
HPP Simulations. Let's thank them. And when it comes time to go sim racing, nothing beats the feel of a true hydraulic braking system from HPP Simulations, designed and manufactured in the USA on state-of-the-art CNC equipment. HPP hydraulic pedals and their accessories set the standard for simulation racing. For more information, please visit hppsimulations.com.
To contact any of the sponsors you see on the screen right now, go to the LionheartRacingSeries.com. Click on 2018 sponsors. Read or scroll to the bottom where you can click on the company logo.
On the screen now are just some of the company's equipment and software that made this broadcast possible. The iconic music that lets your ears alert your eyes. You're watching a GSRC production comes courtesy of Eric Eckham and June Lalonde. See the screen to how to contact each of them.
The Lionheart IndyCar Series returns in 1 week, October 17th, for the Berkey Trucking 200 at Iowa. This should be an exciting one. GSRC and IESN will be there to bring you all the action. We hope you join us. Sliding across your screen now are some upcoming broadcasts, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. If you'd like more information about GSRC, including a complete list of future broadcasts, you can find it all at www.globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel. And if you're not already a GSRC YouTube channel subscriber, you can become one by simply visiting our YouTube channel and hitting that subscribe button.
Finally, on behalf of the man whose voice you just heard, Richie Hearn, our director, Amjad Yaman, and our camera artist, Ducky Beard, I'd like to thank all of you for watching. With that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.